Welcome to Patriot Powerhouse. My name is Brandon, and today's topic is, was Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas poisoned? They say just viral infection, basically COVID, or was it a part of a much bigger plan? So there's stories that are coming up that Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas was admitted to Sibley Hospital in Washington, D.C. after physicians diagnosed him with a viral infection. Now, these are mostly false, according to a high-ranking white hat military source, who claims Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas ingested a near lethal dose of thallium. Thallium is tasteless, colorless, and odorless, and they are historically used in rat poisons and insecticides. Because of their non-selective toxicity, and because of the historic popularity as a murder weapon, thallium has gained the notoriety as the poisoner's poison, or inheritance powder. So persons acting as a proxy for white hat military commanders discreetly visited Sibley and communicated their suspicions to Justice Thomas's wife, urging her to enforce the medical power of attorney she had on her husband to at once extract him from Sibley. So at first she was a little apprehensive, but at the end she agreed to have him moved. The White Hats hurriedly transported Supreme Court Justice Thomas to a secretive location where their physicians could rigorously evaluate his condition. A blood test on Thomas confirmed their worst suspicions. Someone had poisoned him. A urinalysis corroborated the blood work. Supreme Court Justice Thomas had markedly high concentrations of thallium in his bloodstream. So the blood work at Sibley would have shown it. There's absolutely no way doctors could have missed it. So that raises suspicion that the doctors might have been in on it, or somebody was hiding some kind of information and was high enough in the hospital where they could just make that decision. So I'm not sure how the doctors just could have missed it if they're saying there's no way someone could have missed it. So under the care of the White Hat doctors, Thomas received treatments of Peruvian blue, a medication that flushes thallium through the digestive tract. Also, he received several hemodialysis treatments to help remove excessive thallium from the bloodstream. So by doing this, he was able to make a full recovery, and now they're still trying to confirm where he may have been poisoned at and for what reason. So there could be a couple reasons now. So now the U.S. Capitol attack probe may seek interview with Justice Thomas's wife. So what's happening now is due to the text between Ginni and then the Chief of Staff Mark Meadows were made public last week, and Ginni, or Virginia Thomas, who is known for actually showing up to the January 6th Trump rally. So here, Thomas, who the court said was hospitalized last week for an infection, was the lone dissenting voice, or the voice against all the other majority in January when the U.S. Supreme Court rejected Trump's request to block the release of White House records sought by the congressional panel. So now, since Thomas is the lone dissenting voice against everybody, that they're going to try to make Clarence Thomas's wife into looking like a conspiracy theorist and terrorist, blackmail just to get Justice Thomas to step down.
The news has already begun to make Supreme Court Justice Thomas's wife out to be crazy, also trying to make her out to be a right-wing terrorist. So they can try to use it to get Clarence Thomas to step down, and at the very minimum get him to recuse himself from court cases involving January 6th.
Chief election and campaign correspondent Robert Costa and Bob Woodward have uncovered text messages between the wife of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas and President Trump's top aide, in which she repeatedly pushed to overturn the 2020 presidential election. Here's CBS's Robert Costa.
The stunning text messages detail an extraordinary relationship between Ginni Thomas and then White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, just after then President Trump started his fight to overturn the 2020 election results.
This is a major fraud in our nation. We want the law to be used in a proper manner. So we'll be going to the U.S. Supreme Court.
The texts are among more than 2,000 messages Meadows provided to the January 6th committee. The first message from Thomas came the day before Joe Biden was declared the winner of the 2020 presidential election. "Do not concede," she wrote. "It takes time for the army who is gathering for his back." Thomas urged Meadows to help the president stand firm. The majority knows Biden and the left is attempting the greatest heist of our history. The messages don't directly reference Justice Thomas or the Supreme Court, but show how Ginni Thomas sought to guide the president's strategy to overturn the election, urging Meadows to make Trump's controversial attorney, Sidney Powell, the lead and the face. On November 24th, Meadows wrote Thomas, quote, "This is a fight of good versus evil." Thomas replied, "Thank you, needed that. This plus a conversation with my best friend just now." It is unclear who Ginni Thomas was referring to. Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas often refers to his wife this way.
I love being here with my bride, Virginia, who's a gift from God and my totally best friend in the whole world.
Ginni Thomas recently acknowledged she had attended President Trump's rally at the Ellipse prior to the attack, but says she left before Mr. Trump addressed the crowd. Ginni Thomas has publicly denied any conflict of interest between her activism and her husband's work. In the one case heard by the court tied to the January 6 insurrection, they voted to release Trump White House records to the committee. There was only one dissent, Justice Clarence Thomas. Mark Meadows had no comment, though his attorney did confirm the content of the text messages. Ginni Thomas, she did not respond to multiple requests for comment today. And Justice Thomas, who's been hospitalized in recent days with an infection, he also did not respond to a request for comment.
He also did not respond to a request for comment.
But it's still not clear what Justice Thomas knew.
And that raises the question, will Ginni Thomas be issued a subpoena by the January 6th committee? We'll be watching that in the coming days.
Now, they've been trying to get Clarence Thomas to step down actually a long time before this. So you'll see in a video here.
I thought that by saying no and explaining my reasons, my employer would abandon his social suggestions. However, to my regret, in the following few weeks, he continued to ask me out on several occasions. He pressed me to justify my reasons for saying no to him. These incidents took place in his office or mine. They were in the form of private conversations, which would not have been overheard by anyone else. My working relationship became even more strained when Judge Thomas began to use work situations to discuss sex.
As though in my life I had been looking at the wrong people as the people who would be problematic toward me. We were told that, oh, it's going to be the bigot in the pickup truck, it's going to be the Klan.
No, it's the Biden.
The rural sheriff. And I'm not saying that there weren't some of those who were bad.
Joe Biden.
But
Before.
that through all of that, ultimately the biggest impediment was the modern day liberal. That they were the ones who would discount all those things because they have one issue or because they have the authority, the power to caricature you.
Why would they want conservative Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas to lose his Supreme Court seat? They want a liberal Supreme Court judge in his place.
Brown Jackson was Biden's pick for U.S. Supreme Court. Obviously, Biden was on the panel to get rid of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, and now he's trying to get rid of him again by poisoning him, or possibly whoever's on the side of Biden. And it's a big plan to basically get him off the Supreme Court and get Brown Jackson, the pedophile protector judge, onto the Supreme Court. So by getting Ketanji Brown Jackson on there, they can start pushing their narrative.
Was this the only time this happened to a Supreme Court judge? No. They did this to Supreme Court Justice Anton Scalia.
Which kind of goes back to Justice Scalia's death back in when Obama was president. They kind of talk about the motive established. This is very similar to what they were trying to do with poisoning Clarence Thomas. When anyone stands to benefit from Scalia's death, in this case, we have strong evidence for a motive. As the most conservative justice on the Supreme Court, just like Clarence Thomas, left-wing adversaries would have far greater success advancing their agenda by removing him from the court at a time when left-wing president was still in office to appoint a left-wing replacement. Now we're in the same position where there's a conservative dissenting Supreme Court judge who they're trying to now poison because there is then again another left-wing president, Joe Biden, before it was Obama, and they want to get him out so they can appoint their left-wing replacement. So with Scalia out of the way, the left-wing fascists now have a far better chance for success in the upcoming Supreme Court rulings on many important cases Now, this happened to be when Scalia was in, but now you go back to Clarence Thomas, and obviously, if his wife, Virginia Ginni Thomas, is into all of the supposed Q conspiracies, they're obviously on the conservative side, and they're trying to pin them as basically conservative terrorism and January 6th terrorists. So they can make her look crazy and make Justice Thomas step down, and so they can get their liberal Supreme Court nominee in. Scalia repeatedly warned about tyranny and treason in his public speeches and interviews in national news media. Justice Scalia frequently warned of tyranny coming to America. So Scalia told Matt Drudge last year, nefarious government officials are coming after everybody, and they're going to come after us, and it's really dangerous. So you wonder why he ended up dying later on, and the place he ends up dying is on a ranch that's owned by a millionaire businessman who also is a huge Obama supporter. So you kind of go figure it. It's a place that's so far out that they couldn't even get any kind of medical attention anytime quickly. So it took about 3 hours to come out and get a medical attention or somewhere around there. And by the time they did, they reported not to have an autopsy. They didn't want to have basically anything done. They just wanted to get the body buried as fast as possible. There's no questions asked. So there was something going on with his death as well. The same thing that happened to Justice Anton Scalia is the same thing they were trying to do to Clarence Thomas, but they didn't succeed. Luckily, white hats intervened. So we can see maybe later on where this is going to end up and what that was for, and see if Clarence Thomas comes out and does anything special now that he knows someone tried to poison him, and now he's on the complete other side, I'm assuming.